When you feel tired of being the good girl, when every polite smile feels heavier than it should, when you notice how often you swallow your own words just to keep the air around you calm, stay here for a moment. Nothing is wrong with you. Something in you is simply asking to breathe. You learned early that being easy to love kept life smoother, that being agreeable kept the room peaceful, that being quiet kept you safe. So you became skilled at softening yourself. You lowered your voice. You adjusted your needs. You learned to sense tension before anyone spoke it, and you fixed it before it could grow, before it could turn toward you. People called you kind, easy, strong. But what they rarely saw was the effort behind the calm. Take a slow breath, in and out. Let your shoulders loosen just a fraction. You do not need to hold yourself together so tightly right now. Being the good girl was never about goodness. It was about safety. A child discovers quickly which version of herself keeps love close and conflict far away. So she becomes that version, not because it is true, but because it works. And what works repeats. But there comes a quiet moment in life when the mask grows heavy. Not dramatic, not loud, not rebellious, just heavy. Like carrying a coat in a room that is already warm. You begin to notice small things. The pause before you answer honestly. The tightness in your chest when you agree too quickly. The tiredness that comes from being pleasant instead of real. This is not failure. This is awareness. Place one hand gently over your ribs. Feel the movement there. Your body has been bracing for storms that are no longer happening. It learned to anticipate tension, to prevent disappointment, to manage emotions that were never yours to carry. Thank it for trying, and allow it to soften even 1%. That is enough. You are allowed to disappoint people. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to say no without building a soft cushion of explanations. You are allowed to take up space without apologizing for your presence. This does not make you unkind. It makes you real. Another slow breath, in and out. Notice how your chest moves when no one is asking anything from you. There is a rhythm inside you that existed long before expectations. You do not need to be the soft landing for every emotion around you. You do not need to be the calm center of every storm. You do not need to bend until you disappear. The people who love your truth will not leave when you stop performing. And those who loved only your silence were loving comfort, not you. And that realization can feel cold when it first touches the skin. Because comfort is predictable. Comfort is quiet. Comfort does not ask us to change. You are alive. You are unpredictable. You grow. You shift. You feel. And growth is not always comfortable. Sometimes people say they miss you. But what they miss is the version of you that required less from them, the version that stayed silent, the version that agreed, the version that did not disturb the rhythm they had grown used to. This does not make them cruel. It makes them human. We are all drawn to what feels familiar. We are all soothed by what does not challenge us. But being loved for your predictability is not the same as being loved for your truth. Take a slow breath. Let your shoulders drop a fraction. There is nothing you need to defend here. Nothing you need to prove. You spent years learning how to be easy to keep, easy to understand, easy to forgive, easy to stay with. You learned how to make yourself small enough to fit inside other people's comfort. And they called that harmony. They called that kindness. They called that love. But your nervous system remembers how much effort it took to remain that small, how much breath you held, how many words you swallowed, how often your truth dissolved before reaching your lips. Your body knows the difference between peace and silence. Peace softens the chest. Silence tightens the ribs. Peace expands the breath. Silence makes you disappear. Sometimes when you begin to change, people grow uncomfortable. Not because you were wrong, but because the new version of you requires them to meet you differently, to listen more, to take responsibility, to feel what they once avoided. And that is not always easy. So they may say, "You've changed," and they will not mean it as a celebration. They will mean, "You no longer make me comfortable." Let that truth land softly. You are not here to remain digestible. You are not here to remain convenient. You are not here to remain unchanged. You are here to live. Place a hand over your heart. Feel its steady rhythm. This rhythm did not begin to keep others comfortable. It began to keep you alive. There is grief in realizing that some relationships were built around who you used to be. Grief is not failure. Grief is recognition. Grief is the moment you stop pretending that shrinking feels like love. You are allowed to outgrow roles. You are allowed to release performances. You are allowed to become unfamiliar to people who only knew your survival self. This does not mean you are unlovable. It means you are no longer performing for acceptance. The ones who love your essence will adjust to your truth. The ones who loved your compliance may drift away. Both are natural. Both are part of growth. Breathe slowly again. Let the breath move deeper into the belly. There is nothing to rush. No transformation needs to happen tonight. You do not need to fight anyone. You do not need to explain yourself endlessly. You do not need to shrink back to restore comfort. You only need to remain present inside your own life. It is safe to let the old masks loosen. It is safe to let your voice sound different. It is safe to let your boundaries exist. You are not losing love. You are losing the illusion that love requires disappearance. And in the quiet space that opens afterward, something truer begins. Not louder, not dramatic, just honest. Tonight, you don't have to solve anything. You don't have to decide anything. You don't have to become anyone. Just rest in the permission to exist without performance. The world does not end when you stop pretending. It softens. It rearranges. It reveals who can meet you where you truly stand. Let the breath slow. Let the jaw unclench. Let the forehead smooth. There is nothing you need to hold together tonight. You are not here to remain comfortable. You are here to remain real. And that is enough. Rest now.